What's the name? Oh,
yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Football Inc. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing things that you love. We have some interesting news. We've got some thoughts and takeaways from Arsenal's financial results and a story out from football finance expert Kieran Maguire, who said Arsenal can spend whatever they want. What does that look like for next season's title race? What does it look like after last night's games? With regards to this season's title race, Arsenal fans probably have a little bit more hope today than they did, let's say, 24 hours ago. Of course, we got Jonny H with us, part of the co-owner of the channel, co-host as well. Jonny, how are you, Mr. Extraordinaire? How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. Yeah, good. It's good to be on the channel. If you're just tuning in, Football Inc., we're going to be talking about all things about all clubs. And we thought we'd kick off today, although we've done a bit on Spurs. We thought we'd hit Arsenal because it's quite topical after last night's result. Are they sniffing a title chance after Darwin Núñez unbelievable miss? I mean, honestly, I thought it was waiting for the net to bulge. Could that be a sliding doors moment for both Arsenal and Liverpool? I think the nerves are there. The nerves are definitely there. Big crucial games coming this weekend.
Aston Villa, not an easy place to play. Getting 3 points from Villa Park is not for everyone. A place where Tottenham do well traditionally, but we didn't do very well recently in the Cup. Jonny, last night, I mean, look, Liverpool going away to Aston Villa. Most people, I think, would argue one of the more trickier areas of the Premier League around the grounds to hit up and expect 3 points from. It was a really good game. Aston Villa coming from behind to take the lead, I believe, and then obviously sort of sacrificing that lead in the second half to a wonderful bit of skill and play link up between Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was scheduled to be substituted 2 seconds before he puts the ball in the back of the net. And then, yeah, you're right. Darwin Núñez, Liverpool's 80 million pound man. Not really
euros. Yeah, big bucks.
Not really. Most Liverpool fans, or many Liverpool fans, cup of tea. It just goes to show you that sometimes spending the big bucks doesn't always get you the big output. And look, you know, it does obviously leave the door open for Arsenal. They're now only 7 points behind, I think. Liverpool with a game in hand, which of course will be played out in the next week or two. I'm not sure. Do you know who Arsenal got this weekend?
It's 8 points. So they got West Ham. Home to West Ham. Listen, Arsenal drew 2-2 with Villa at home. So when you look at it side by side, Liverpool drawing 2-2 away. But football's about momentum, Sean. And, I think Arsenal, listen, although Arsenal have lost their strikers, Mikel Merino coming on and backing those two, really good goals would have given them confidence. Because let's be honest, in the middle of the park there, that midfield is well and truly settled. It's rock solid. And so is their defence. And Ben White's
defence in the game.
So, I think, Arsenal are in it. There's no two ways about it. And this weekend, as we know, Liverpool played Man City. A bit of a blow would have been the fact that Haaland looks like he might be missing. He didn't play last night against Real Madrid. So that will most probably upset a few Arsenal fans because they're hoping, obviously, that Man City can do the business. Maybe Mamouche will come on and score another couple of goals and put them right in the title. But, when you look at that now, 8 points behind, 7 in goal difference, but that can easily be closed up. I think Arsenal have got a good bit of momentum. And should City draw in that game and Arsenal win, I think it's anything can happen. And I think they're going on about their problem they have in up front with their strikers, with no Jesus and Havertz out for the rest of the season, but they're very good at adapting. I mean, Trossard, they had an attempt with Trossard and Sterling. I'm not really feeling Sterling this season. He looks to me like he's trying too hard. And when he does get his chance, like he did last week, he just didn't take it. And Mikel Merino's just come on and bang, bang, and game over, game changed. And will he start against West Ham? I would start him because football's all about momentum, as I keep saying, and keep the man in form. I expect them to beat a poor West Ham. Even with the new manager in, Harry Potter, I don't think he can make any magic spells to stop Arsenal at home with the crowd behind them. So I think one of the questions would be maybe whether Calafiori will start or Miles Skelly, Lewis Skelly, because Skelly's doing very well. But when you've got someone like Calafiori coming on and scoring late goals and stuff, it's a nice problem to have. But I suppose I'll start. I expect them to start, with Nawani. I like them to see Marino. Listen, although I'm a Spurs fan, and obviously I'd like to see Liverpool win the title, I think they're very much in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's anyone else in it. I think when you look down that list, I think, Nottingham Forest, no disrespect to them, 6 points off of Arsenal. Obviously 14 points at the moment with a game more to play over Liverpool, and even Manchester City. Liverpool obviously have to go to City this weekend. And so tough fixture there, especially with Manchester City. Listen, I think it's far too much to ask for them to come back. But look, they are free of any other distractions, or at least the Champions League is now done. Their season is in sort of tatters, if you like. And, it's tough times to be a Manchester City fan for the first time in a long time. But they have some ability to have a stake in what happens by obviously getting a good result against Liverpool. And I think the Manchester City fans will deserve and demand, more importantly, a reaction, because it really wasn't good enough in their 2 legs against Real Madrid. And I think the gulf in quality between the two teams really showed for the first time in a long time. So yeah, all to play for, Johnny, in the title race.
Shawnee,
you obviously don't want a mate, go on.
I was just going to ask you, would you say that Mikel Arteta's friendship with Pep might be the turning point that he would really want Arsenal, if it wasn't going to be him, that it was Arsenal that won the title more so than Liverpool?
Yeah, well, I would assume so. I would also think that Manchester City probably look right now at Liverpool and think that they're a bigger threat next season. And we're going to come to why that might not necessarily be the case in just a second. But I mean, I think that more important than any of those things is just, Mikel Arteta's ego and the fact that it's probably quite bruised with what's been a really, really disappointing season for them. So I think that they're going to demand better. And he should be hopeful of, I guess, sort of derailing some more momentum. 1 point from 4 for Liverpool, if that's 1 point from 6 rather, if that's what we're looking at on Monday morning, then especially if, like you say, Arsenal can find a way to beat West Ham. Look, West Ham are a weird team. They're on their day, they're capable, but Arsenal usually have the upper hand against them. And so I'm not expecting anything other than an Arsenal win, despite their injury issues, which is where we're going to move to next. The figures are out, Johnny. And look, really, really super healthy results for
headline.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can spend what we want.
Kieran Maguire has come out with his analysis. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire, he has said that their latest financial accounts this week have been released. It was revealed that the club recorded revenue of over £600 million, but made a loss of £17.7 million, which is largely usually down to amortization, sort of depreciation and tax and things. But ultimately, their revenue is looking very, very attractive. Don't forget that this season, they've already made €75 million, I think it is, from getting to the halfway stage of the Champions League. So you can pretty much rest assured that next season their figures are going to be solid as well. As we just quickly glance through this, we do have the rules there. It does say the introduction of PSR and APT rules, which are still subject to legal battles in recent years, has seen a number of clubs limited in terms of how they are able to add to their squad. But obviously the Arsenal finances, the loans, the debt on their club has been financed recently by Kroenke at, sort of interesting interest rate, shall we say. But those rules are all up in the air. We don't know really what that's going to look like. But let's see what he says. Kieran Maguire says, yes, they have got absolutely no cost control concerns whatsoever, would be his observation. The wages are well under control. They have used Stan Kroenke as their lender. Whether that is going to go ahead, we will have to wait for the ruling on the new associated party transaction rules. But even if that goes in the favour of the Premier League, I don't see Arsenal have any problems at all. They're in a very strong position to spend what they want. They spent £256 million last season and 250 the previous season. They have certainly got the capacity to invest heavily in the market, should they wish to do so. They have the capacity, but it, as we have seen with other clubs, is about spending it well rather than spending it big. that ultimately matters. Spending it big and well is the absolute sweet spot. And just on that one, Johnny, we know how upset Mikel Arteta was. He was even fairly kind of vocal, if you like, with his disappointment, we call it, dissatisfaction with the fact that they wanted to do something more in the January transfer window. The club decided against that decision, weren't able to find someone that they thought or felt was value for money that could move the needle. And then a couple of days later, obviously already reeling from the loss of Bukayo Saka for the majority of the season, and then they lose Kai Havertz as well, which you mentioned in your previous answer that players like Mikael Merino have stepped up, and others, you're looking for maybe for Declan Rice's and those sorts of guys, Odegaard, that can come in and lift the needle. But ultimately they are, and have been for a long time, short of that final piece of the jigsaw, which really is that absolute monster nine that can go in and bang in 20 goals plus consistently. And alongside all this news that's come out this morning, Johnny, there is other stories saying, and we're going to talk about the various options they could go for in the summer. It's not going to help them between now and the end of the season, but it certainly will be something that they're looking to do early in the summer. Alex Isak, the Newcastle target, long-term target. Newcastle have come out, and in various reports this morning, they have intimated that Newcastle won't even bother to look at any offer for Isak that is shy of £150 million. And even then, that might not be enough. Johnny, you and I talked about Alex Isak on a previous show, saying £150 million surely is the number if you're looking at players like John Duran that can command 70 from Saudi. What's your thoughts on Alex Isak? Do you think, given this financial data, that Arsenal are going to break the bank for him, or do you think they'll go in a different direction? And if so, where?
Well, to be honest with you, look, we all know Isak's a top striker, but my feeling is the way Arsenal play, I think Ollie Watkins is more the player. I really do. Also, he's an Arsenal fan. I just think the way he plays, moves across the line, he works hard, and I think he's more in the Arteta mould, personally. That's my feeling. A bit older than Isak. The only other one out there that I would think of is Gyökeres, who I think is a top player. Again, Arsenal have been playing with a false nine. I wouldn't say Jesus is what you class as an old-fashioned centre forward. People say Arsenal need a striker. I mean, everyone needs a Mohamed Salah, don't they? Everyone wants a Salah, and everyone wants a Harry Kane or whoever it may be. But I think realistically, even with the amount of money they have to spend, they've been very shrewd. Don't forget all the players that they produce, the quality youth. I think they sold £80 million worth of players in the summer. Nketiah, they sold Ramsdale and Smith Rowe. I think it's about 80 million there. So they can afford it. Coupled with the millions. I mean, the money that's involved in the Champions League right now, this season, is just vast. As you say, something like 80, 90 million euros they've made already. And with the draw looking likely that they're going to draw one of the two Dutch clubs, PSV or Feyenoord, in the next round, I would fancy them to go on to the next round and even more money. And being certainties for the Champions League, it's much easier for them to already start targeting the players that they need. And do they really need 5 or 6 players? I don't think they do. I mean, with Nawani, Skelly, and the midfield, I think Partey might be the player who's going to go, and they'll look to replace him. But I think
Zubimendi targeted. Lots of rumours out today that Zubimendi will join up with his former colleague Mikael Merino. Yeah, and look, I mean, listen, I know Merino had a wonderful last few days as an Arsenal player, but if I'm honest, and I'd sort of take away my Tottenham vibe for a second, just looking at it objectively or as best I can, Merino and Zubimendi were what made Sociedad tick last season. The double pivot there, and I don't think either player has been quite the same. It's like Sonny and Cher, or Sonny and Kane, maybe is a better way of thinking it. Like one doesn't work without the other. A little bit of yin and yang.
Yeah, they're a great double act.
Yeah, great double act.
Yeah. I mean, Liverpool tried to sign Zubimendi. They thought they were going to do it, but it fell apart. So Liverpool's loss would be Arsenal's gain, because I think he's a quality player. And listen, look, I don't.
Where would you play Declan Rice if you're bringing in Zubimendi to start alongside Mikel Merino in some sort of double pivot? Do you push Declan Rice further forward? Or is it just going to be a rotation system where you've got three players for two slots?
Isn't he? I think, with Partey, Odegaard. Listen, it's good to have that problem. Let's be honest. Competition for places, all this backup talk that people talk about, fans talk about, it'll be a backup. There's no such thing as a backup. When you're playing Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, the league, you need competition in all places and a good squad depth. And that's what's kept Arsenal going, because even though they've had injuries to players, even look at, they've lost Odegaard for a while, they've lost Saka, but it hasn't seen a massive drop off. I mean, there's still, 8 points only behind Liverpool with the game in hand. And Liverpool have been like a steam train for quite a long time. So, listen, they're here to stay. It's whether or not Liverpool will invest. Don't forget, they didn't really spend any money in the summer.
Yeah, they haven't needed to, have they? They haven't needed to, really. They inherited.
Goalkeeper.
He inherited a wonderful squad, didn't he, old Arne Slot? Let's be honest.
He did, but it's whether or not now he loses Salah, Trent, and Virgil van Dijk, or they manage to keep them. That will very much determine where they are next season. But I mean, the fact that Arsenal can go ahead and do what they want. Look, the rules now with Kroenke making the loans to Arsenal, and they were concerned that they were circumventing the rules, and that might be a problem for Arsenal. It's looking now with Man City winning that judgment that might not be the case. In which case, going to be in a.
It could even be reversed, Johnny. Could even be reversed. But bearing in mind that part of the legality, the dispute that Manchester City alleged resulted in potential future lawsuits whereby deals that were supposed or should have been legally allowed to happen weren't. And as a consequence, those teams had to go into different directions, looking different things. There might be punitive damage, not punitive damages, but sort of compensation claims. Now, again, the challenge there is how do you align whereby, if your competitive edge has been impacted by deals that you wanted to happen, but then were refused, can you put that in the same bucket as people that said, well, had it not been for the rules that I understood to be legal, I would have done things, but the only reason you don't know about them is because I was clear on the rules that turn out to be illegitimate anyway. So I didn't present to you deals that you would have rejected because I knew that they wouldn't have worked. But now I could have done. So can it only be the compensation claims of deals that were rejected? Or could it also be every club could have said, well, I could have done this. I had that offer there, but where does it stop? I don't know. But if Arsenal, had to understand under Kroenke, add interest to the loans as a consequence of the new pivot towards APT that Manchester City first argued for, then maybe they can also go back to the Premier League and say, well, we don't want to have that interest charge. It could have been at 0% because that rule might also technically be proven to be illegitimate, just like the initial APT rules were. So I don't know. The Premier League, the FFP, the PSR, the squad cost ratios, the anchoring, everything's up in the air. I have no idea where it's going to go next, this story, but it's certainly one to keep your finger on, isn't it?
Well, listen, look, as far as I'm concerned, from time memorial, rules have always been broken. You're not allowed to smoke here, and you see people having a smoke. You can't do this, and people do it, right? Don't bring in your drink into the stadium with the lid on, right? People do it. People always push the envelope, okay? And, this is...
Are you saying it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission? Is that what you're sort of saying?
Listen, look, Chelsea circumvented the rules, selling the hotel back to themselves. Man City circumvented the rules. And Arsenal have tried to circumvent the rules by, Kroenke giving them a loan at a very low interest rate. And, the wife of... everyone thinks of Kroenke being an extremely wealthy man. His missus is the heiress to the Walmart billion. So, they don't, you know, if
Wealthiest
it's helped
in the
them
world,
to,
aren't they? Allegedly.
yeah, they're on another level. So my point here is that personally, I don't see it as a problem. They didn't have a problem when Abramovich lent Chelsea £1 billion. And we still don't know what happened to that money. That's still sort of lingering in an account somewhere. Probably the government got it. They're probably out there having tea parties now as we speak with that money. So look, it is what it is, and you know, if it's within the law, the fact that other clubs haven't gone and done it and say, oh no, but we're going to play by the rules, and the others haven't, and they're not going to be told off, and they're going to get away with it, then I suppose good luck to them. Good luck to them.
Well, they're going to need good luck if they think that that they can find consistent success working within a set of rules that, whilst other teams didn't really spend too much time worrying about the rules, they spent more time focusing on how to get around them. And then after all that, the rules weren't worth the paper they were written on anyway, legally, not let alone kind of method like from a rhetoric perspective. Then, yeah, look, I think a lot of chairmen out there in the Premier League are going to have to start to think a little bit outside the box with regards to how they can move forward, because, you know, look, Arsenal, even just the revenue that they can generate from a traditional prize money, stadium generating match day ticket prices, their revenue is superb.
They don't even have Beyonce. I mean, look, they don't have Beyonce. They don't have the NFL. They don't have Post Malone. They just got something called football. All right.
Yeah.
They play it better than us. But
and they might be playing. They might be playing a lot more attractive, even though they're one of the best looking teams to watch, with players like Zubamendi coming in, potentially players like whether it's Isak, whether it's Gyökeres. For what it's worth, there's also another story out there today from the Metro saying that Arsenal are keeping very close tabs on Hugo Ekitike. I think his name is from Eintracht Frankfurt. £65 million bid. He's allegedly up there or up and about where what Frankfurt would like.
The lunatic down at Galatasaray.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even sure. Maybe if I see a lot of Arsenal fans. Let me know, Arsenal fans, if you're watching this. Who would you like to see come in? But a lot of Arsenal fans I look at now are kind of turning their nose up to the idea of Osman. They would rather see.
I agree.
Someone like a Gyökeres, you know, and isn't that a wonderful position to be in as an Arsenal fan, where you can look at the best strikers in the world and think that you have a realistic opportunity to sign them because you can afford them and you have the draw. And
you have
as a Tottenham fan, it's quite an envious position.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, you know, they're competing at the top of the champions, the Premier League. They're in the latter stages of the Champions League. You know, it's not exactly a hard sell, is it? You know,
got London as well.
You know, listen, Chelsea managed to sell players coming when they were sat in 15th place. As long as they're playing the money, which Arsenal do, they're not going to have any problem drawing them in. Depends what the competition is, but yeah. So let's see, and all eyes will probably be on Arsenal with the draw tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And our friend David Hanko will be in. What a turn up for the book. Just quickly to go, that the two Dutch teams turned over the two Italians, Juventus and AC Milan, both getting turned over by the Dutch Eredivisie play.
Not just that, mate. Not just that, but their Dutch neighbours over in Belgium, Club Brugge, dismantling Atalanta as well. Bad week for Italian football.
Johnny, the little clubs with the bigger money. They're just going to get the big bucks now. The big bucks are coming. They're going to be more competitive.
They are. And there's a lot of gems over there in Central Europe that these clubs can find that conveyor belt of talent and then keep churning them through, develop them up, and then let some English club pay over the odds for them. Interesting times, an interesting week of football. Can't wait for Friday. And Johnny, as always, mate, thank you for sharing it with us. If you want to round us off, buddy.
Yeah, just quickly, guys, if you're watching for the first time, if you're an Arsenal fan, if you're an Everton fan, whoever you are, we're here to talk football. Every club, anything, VAR to PSR to FFP to whatever happened last week in a game, whether it was a fight down the tunnel or a fight down at the local stadium, we're here to talk about it. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the comments if you like it, if you don't like it, or what you think and who you'd like to see Arsenal sign.
Appreciate you guys. It's goodbye from him.
It's goodbye from me.